Hello everyone, Simon is here again with AvaTrade, and we will be going through our weekly trading plan. And I know we have a lot of returning visitors, and I'm sure we have some new people. So for those of you that are new, just a few words about what we do here. We going through some instruments and markets and looking to possible trading scenarios, possible moves, trends, and so on. And we're doing it every week. That's something that helps us to create a structure and the plan, and I always say the homework for the upcoming week, which is very, very important. And I'm going to quote it again, as they say, you plan the trade and then you trade your plan. Okay. Before we go any further, I just want to read this something that's very important. That's a risk warning. Any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only, and it should not be construed or applied as investment advice, a recommendation, or suggestion. CFDs are complex instruments and come with a high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 71% of retail investors' accounts lose money when trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. And of course, you can see the full disclosure statement at avatrade.com. Okay, agenda for today. Before we go to agenda, of course, you can contact us at Twitter at AvaTrade, and of course, you can use the YouTube channel of AvaTrade that contains a lot of information, a lot of recordings that could be useful for your education. And today's agenda will go through some indices, some Forex, pairs, and dollar index there, some commodities, stocks, and we will begin. I'm just going to switch now to the MT4 platform in a moment. So we'll be seeing our charts. Okay. So I guess we're ready to go. So before we go to any specific markets, just a little summary. We had something that we mentioned last week, something that we've been waiting for. That's the NFP numbers, and there was a surprise to the downside. There were much less jobs added than was expected, and the market reacted to it. First, the indices went up, then they start selling off, and so on. So what's important to know that over the weekend, the investors and traders and anybody's involved, they will be digesting these numbers and see how the market will reflect on it. Again, Monday, it's Labor Day in the States and Canada, so the US indices and US stocks are not going to be trading. It's going to be different schedule for commodities, I think, as well. So it's going to be a slow day, and of course, it's the last day for barbecues, as I like to say, before everybody goes to full-time working after the summer. So it's something fun in the States, in Canada as well, and the markets are closed. And we'll see how Tuesday starts at the US markets and so on. So let's begin. We'll go through the indices and see what happened and what could potentially happen in the upcoming week. We'll start with the S&P 500. Take a look. This is the daily chart. 1, 2, 3 days in a row, we pretty much had the same tails. And on Friday, we had a spike, and then we closed lower. And this is the daily chart. On the weekly chart, we still made a new high. And take a look at how we're trading in the steep uptrend channel, and we're still outside the channel. So we'll see this week. What we want to see on the daily chart, of course, is the market. I mean, there's a lot of things. You could be also reading a lot of articles and so on. There's mixed predictions as far as what's going to happen. One thing, they say that with this disappointing data, the Feds are not going to be running in September to tapering plans. It's probably going to happen towards the end of the year. Some say must even or might even happen next year. So that's also a possibility. On the other hand, disappointing data showing that the economy might be in not such a great shape, and the COVID does affect it in a negative way, and that could hurt the market as well. And we'll see. We're not gonna guess. We'll just see how the week starts and how we continue. So we'll be watching Friday's low as a possible support, and if we break that, that would bring us back to the channel, which could mean that we'll start selling a little bit and finding some kind of a support at some point. It could be the bottom of the channel, it could be anything else. We'll be watching that. Let's take a look at Dow Jones. Dow Jones is the weakest out of three indices. We know the S&Ps, Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq index. So what happens? It actually had the down week. This is the weekly chart, and you can see it on the daily chart. We had a hard time confirming the highs, and then we closed lower on Friday. So that's Dow Jones. Similar idea. We'll be watching for the low of Friday to the downside, and of course, there's always a chance we're going to go higher. You'll be watching maybe on the breakout to the upside. We'll see what happens. Nasdaq is the strongest one. It's been very strong. We had even the Friday, we closed higher, and we're holding the highs on Nasdaq. Similar idea for continuation to the upside. We want to see a breaking of 15,675 on the upside, and moving down 15,551.75 and Nasdaq. That was the low on Friday. So that's the US indices. Let's take a look at the FTSE. FTSE had the spike that somehow hit the stops probably and were closed lower. It's a bearish sign in a way. That happens a lot of times at the reversal. So let's see what happens the upcoming week on FTSE. DAX is weak. We didn't, on the US markets going higher, DAX had no power to go, and we actually closed lower, and we touched much lower levels. We closed a little bit higher than the low of the day, but it doesn't look strong. So we'll be watching DAX and the possible move lower. French index, we spoke about it. Remember, after all this move, we had a few gaps down. We tried to go higher, and Friday was a strong down day, right? So we'll be watching for possible continuation to the downside on the CAC 40. Indian index is going higher. I've read some articles that GDP is huge. They are up 20% or something. It's unreal, and the index is reflecting it. So it is supported by some fundamentals. We'll be watching what's happening next, but this is so far the strongest out of indices, the commonly traded indices. Nikkei had a very strong move on Friday. That was before NFPs, of course. So this is very interesting. We'll be watching how the new week starts for Asian indices. This was the previous level of resistance that we couldn't break a few times. We couldn't break it here, we couldn't break it here. And then Friday was an up move, we closed. So we'll be watching probably confirmation of this level. If we pull in this 29,427 will be the level to watch. And if we continue higher, I guess the 30,000 psychological level is due to be retested on Nikkei. So that's as far as indices. Again, we said the US is going to be closed in Canada Monday, so it's going to be a choppy day because the US market is the most traded one. And so we'll see how indices or US indices will open on Tuesday and what's going to happen. So let's move to Forex for now, and let's take a look in dollar index as a general indication. We had the second down week on the weekly chart. We're still not close to this previous level of support of 91.79. And take a look on the daily chart. We went straight down pretty much all week, and Friday after the sell-off we bounced a little bit to the upside. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart if there's anything special here. Guess not. So we probably can draw the level here on the 4-hour chart, something to look for in the upcoming week. We closed above it, so around 92, 92.10. That's the level from which we bounced from over here, and we held it. We held higher for a while, and we came to retest it again. So as long as we're holding about 92, 92.10, there's a possibility for dollar to bounce higher. We'll be watching it for the week, and let's see. I prepare a few pairs that have potential trades that we'll be paying attention to. So first one is Euro Australian dollar. This is the level right here, that from which we made a recent high, and we did touch it to the pip, and that's around 159.22. So that's the level of potential support right here. You see it confirmed here. It played around this level, and from here we bounced and made a new high, recent high, not the all-time high, of course. So it could be a potential of buying 159.22 with the stop maybe 20, 30 pips as a potential. And of course, there's always a scenario to the flip side. If we do break down and start building below it, there's also potential of moving lower. And logically, potential of it moving higher is more valid here. But again, there's no guarantees. So for those of you that are looking to buy, this could be a nice level to try to enter a buy with a short stop and a potential to go higher. So that's the Euro Aussie. Here's another one, Euro against New Zealand dollar. Take a look. This is the level right here, around 1.66. Take a look. We really confirmed this level tens of times. A lot of times we did confirm it right here. A lot of actions, tails touched it, and then we came right back to it. So back to daily chart, it looks very interesting on a possible buying scenario. And the stop, of course, you choose your stop based on your equity or your risk tolerance and potential move towards the upper end of this channel. And of course, it could start going lower and closing lower and potentially going higher there. So that's Euro NZD. Let's take a look at pound. Pound had a hard time breaking this level here. There was a lot of action. We couldn't break it, and then we sold, and we came straight to it. So it's around 138.75 level. We'll be watching that level for possible resistance. And if we do break above it and start closing higher, it could open a possibility for the pound going higher. Let's take a look on the weekly chart. Weekly chart doesn't look that great to the upside. But we're not going to judge. We'll see. We're not going to guess. We'll see what happens next week. So that's pound. Euro dollar retested 119, but it closed lower here. So we'll be watching the level of 119, and we'll see what happens there. So possible bounce again from here, unless we break higher and start closing higher. This is a strong resistance right here. And from actually last time we touched this level, we made the new low. So there's a possibility that we'll have a hard time breaking this 119 psychological level. So we'll be watching Euro for that. Let's take a look. Euro pound also has been holding this level here, nothing special we see. Euro Swiss, we broke through the previous resistance. This is interesting. And 108.39 level was broken. So it stopped being resistance. So it could potentially turn into support. Let's see if it comes straight down here to retest it. It could be a possibility for buying. Should we hold about it for a while? And it opens a possibility for it to go higher here. We'll take a look at Australian dollar. And take a look. This was the level that we stopped, and then we played around it. the level 0.7477 area, and it looks like it plays a strong resistance again. So we'll be watching that level for possible bounce from it, or should it go higher and start closing and price action showing a little strength, it could be a beginning of a new area here, something that turns from a resistance to support, and we potentially could go higher. We'll be watching this. USD NOK, we came to the level of previous support and we dipped lower, but we closed above it. 865.90 is holding. This is the level from here, from here, from here, and from here we went making new highs here. So level is holding, and potentially if dollar is gaining some strength next week, we could see a move higher from here. Similar idea, USD ZAR. USD ZAR confirmed the level of support here. Take a look. We bounced from here. We had a series bounce with a new high over here, and we touched that level again about 14.25, and we closed higher. So if we're holding this level and we retest it and show the strength, we could start a reversal move over here. It's not going to be as steep as this one. This went too fast, too low in a way, but it did confirm that support is still in play. So we'll be watching for possible reversal from here, from 1424, 1425 levels. Very, very good potential trade here, of course, by using the stops and having a plan. USDCAD. USDCAD is also confirming this level here, 125.24. That's the level from which we bounced strongly here. And we dipped below, but we closed higher. It's a strong sign over here. And we'll be watching it. Now, upcoming week on the fundamental side, there's unemployment data and interest rate decision from Canada that could play the role in this pair, of course. Dollar index, of course, will pay on the other side. And oil price will, of course, play a big role in the price of Canadian dollar. So is and the NOK, the Norwegian krona, of course, will be affected by oil. We'll get to oil in a moment. Okay, so we said possible reversal for USD NOK and USD ZAR. Okay, that's it as far as currencies. Let's move to commodities now. We start from gold. Gold had a very strong reaction to the data that came. Let's take a look. This is what when unemployment data came, or employment data came, we bounced, we held this level. And remember, I indicated for you the levels 1812 to 1831, and that's exactly what happened. We went to retest 1831 and we bounced of it. So why we draw that level, you can see it on daily chart. I put these are the levels from last week that I saved, 1831. So again, I just want to make sure that you understand the levels are important, and you need to learn and experience and understand how to draw the levels. You're not going to be ideal with levels. Nobody is. I'm not, even though I've been doing it for many years, 21 years now. But they do work somehow. And take a look. We said that 1812, the level, if we stay, we're going to go retest next one. And that's exactly what happened. So it's important. It's important to know why, because whoever's panicking, let's say somebody's short, for instance, or it doesn't matter, short or long, and the gold start going higher like crazy, and without knowing anything, or anybody would be panicking, because we are afraid of unknown. But if you're prepared, and even if you have some orders, sell orders here, or if you long, you want to get out before it reverses. So you know that 1830, 1831 will be probably the end of the move. So you want to get out before your profits start shrinking. So that's important to know the levels and have the levels. So gold, again, the same thing. We came from 1812, we retested 1830, 1831, and we failed to break through it. So again, for the gold, we said that in order for it to go higher, we need to start closing on the daily chart above it. So far, it didn't happen. So officially, we're still in this range over here, something to pay attention to. So the range is remaining 1812 to 1830, 1832, about $20 range over here. So that's gold. Copper. Copper, after this move up, right? We had the sell-off here on the 1st of September. We started with a sell-off, and now we're on the way to possibly retest this level over here. And again, where the level comes from, daily chart is a good thing. We bounce from here, we bounce from here. We had a lot of actions here, then we bounce straight down, breaking the previous level. So that's what it makes it a strong level. And over here, you see, the moment we close lower, we sold out. So 4.36, 4.37, the level remains as a strong resistance, and the next support is 412 around this area. So we'll be watching copper. We'll be watching, there's some news actually from China coming up this week. It's going to be interesting to watch copper for those that are trading it. Now, we came to crude oil, we mentioned it. Take a look. This is the level that I set up from which we actually sold out, and we closed on Thursday above it. Friday we went straight below. So there's no confirmation of moving high here. So as we dipped below this level, there's a possibility we're going to go retest the previous levels, maybe 68, 67.50, and so on. So oil, there's a possibility of it to going lower, to looking for next support, or we might be trading around this level and not really dipping in and then getting ready for the next move higher. That's also a possibility, but again, we would need to close above, let's say, 69.70, 69.50 area with some strong price action to the upside. So that's the crude oil for you. Natural gas, strong like never before. Take a look. We set up a level here. We set up 465 last week. We did this, and take a look on the daily chart. We touched it a few times and we dipped lower. And Friday we did close above it. So technically we could be moving higher and could be potential. And I think this is something very interesting. So on the weekly chart, just want to draw your attention to this. On the weekly chart, this level, we could go to 489, 490. Now, are you ready for this? I'm going to show you a monthly chart now. I know everything is possible, so take a look. This is a monthly chart, and at some point, 2008, natural gas was at $13. I'm not saying it's going there, but take a look. Since then, we sold out, and we never had the chance to pretty much break this 489, 490. We had a little spike here, and this is monthly chart. So each candle represents a month. So at the moment we dipped in, we had no energy to move higher. Here we tried. There was an attempt here, fail. Attempt here, fail. And this was the last attempt. This was high of 4.898. And that was 2018 November, 3 years ago. So if we are so strongly moving higher, it could be a possibility that we're going to retest this 489 level. And if we do break that and start closing higher, anything could happen. I really don't know, what fundamental is moving it, maybe upcoming winter and so on, but that's very interesting to watch. And I think a lot of traders that had faith in natural gas are making a lot of money. So again, if you're not in the position and you're looking to trade, be cautious. Don't want to get caught in a reversal. Just watch it. Anyway, we'll be watching it for possible move to this 489, 490 area to the next strong resistance. Or of course, some of us like to catch a reversal, which is a highly profitable thing, but also risky. So we'll be watching that on natural gas. And let's move on to, so we went through gold and copper, oil, natural gas. Oh, another thing that I'm happy to show you, corn. Remember we spoke about corn, how it actually setting up for possible head and shoulder scenario. And according to what we see now, it's actually setting up nicely. We had an attempt to go higher. This is the daily chart, but we went lower, and we pretty much closed below the range that we set, 527. So this could be a beginning or move down. Of course, you might bounce back and go higher. It could be anything. But for those of you that believe and like the formation, and this is an amazing looking head and shoulder that could lead to a further move down on corn. So we'll be watching corn closely this week. Soybeans, similar scenario. We did break through this level of support, 1, 2. We had the bounce, we closed, we had 3 days, 4 days closing below. So we'll be watching this 1298 for possible selling and potential move lower over here. And we'll move to stocks. Let's take a look at a few stocks that potential will be trading. Again, Mondays, the US stock market is closed. Only Tuesday they'll resume trading. So Netflix had a nice move. Take a look, we break out of the range and we closed a little bit below this tail over here. So we'll be watching this level again. Let's just take a look. A high of 593 even. So 593 could be a potential resistance for a beginning of a correction to the downside, especially if the market sells off. We had 3 straight weeks up and we failed to close below the previous level of resistance. So that could be it could be showing us that could be at least immediate end of the move up and at least temporary correction here on Netflix. Tesla broke out of the next range. We said the 726, 727. We had 4 days opening and closing about the range. That looks very bullish. So we could start move higher on Tesla from here. And we'll be watching it, of course. GM, we spoke about the stock. So far after the sell-off, nothing's happening. We're holding this 48 level, 48.40 level. So let's see if GM could gain some energy here. And it looks like after this dip, we moved higher. We're holding this level around 48.60. And if we made a move higher, if we break this previous candle to the upside, we could continue going higher on that. Let's take a look at Walmart. Walmart, we spoke about it since Amazon announced that they're going into retail business in physical locations. Walmart actually got scared. I'm just being funny here and sold out a little bit, but we came back to 149.56. This is the level of right here from which was sold out. We came back. So let's see if we actually, if Walmart has some power to break to 149, 150. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's a strong level to break. And there's also a possibility that it's going to continue selling off up to confirming the new resistance. So that's also a possibility for Walmart. Microsoft, we failed to break 305.40 the whole week. We couldn't do it. So we in this range 297 to 305. That's about $8 range. So you know, for those of you who like to trade range, it's nice. You buy low, you sell higher. And if we do break below the range, we'll be opening move to the next level, to the downside. Amazon, we spoke about Amazon. This is the move on announcement on retails and so on after a sell-off, and we are pretty much in an uptrend from here, and there's a possibility, 2 possibilities, where they go and retest the 35.77, or we come back to the level we couldn't break before, 33.87. So it's also ranging. For those that are trading the ranging market, it's pretty good. Apple, we spoke about Apple not breaking 150. We did break it this week. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly chart. It looks better here. So you see we couldn't break it, and this is the week that we broke it, and we closed at 154. And on the daily chart, that's the level here, 154.81. That's all-time high. So we'll be watching that level on the possible breakout. And if Apple has a hard time breaking it, and the market pulls in, that we could see go and retest at 149, 150 area on Apple. Okay. Intel didn't get any power since we spoke about it. They signed the contract with Defense Department. We had a hard time breaking 54. We're back at 53. It's hard to say what's next. And the weekly chart, this level of 54.38 is a strong level of resistance. So far, we can't break it. So we could move lower here, or we can go and retest and possibly break it to the upside. We'll be watching this level closely, 54.30, 54.50. Google, the first down week in a long time. Okay, so we'll be watching. The Thursday was a down day, and Friday we didn't have any strength to go higher. So this could be a beginning of a correction, and that could take us to the previous level of support, 2763, and that's Google. Facebook is holding this level 374.94, let's say 375 level. Why this? Right here, we stopped over here, we retested, we came lower, we broke through, then we established a support here. So 375 now, it's a support. It's a support, and we'll be watching what's happening the upcoming week. If we break below it and start closing lower, we could see a potential move lower from here on Facebook. Okay, so we'll be watching that. Alibaba, Chinese stocks are bouncing a little bit in the last day or two. This is the first up week in a long time for Alibaba. So I don't know who likes to trade the stocks. It's a lot of things that are hard to predict what's happening from China, from the communist state. But it could be that we're bouncing here. So I just wanted to mention that. And two pharmaceuticals, Pfizer on the daily chart, we came to the previous level of support, and looks like we're bouncing here. So it could be that we found support 46.30, and now with the third injection and everything else, we could see a continuation to the upside. Always a possibility, of course, that we go lower, but it looks like we're holding this 46.30 level. And Johnson & Johnson, same idea. We held 172.60 area, and we've been going higher here on the way to retest the previous highs. So that's as far as stocks. And let's take a look at our two cryptos. And this is the Bitcoin. We're having a hard time breaking 50,000. Okay. And we'll be watching it. I mean, we have to really show the strength about 50,000, closing about it. So far, we didn't really close about 50. Let's see this day. Yeah, we did 50,967 for one day, and then we're having a hard time going higher. And the last one is Ethereum. Ethereum is strong. We actually touched, I think, 4,000. Yeah, 4,019 we touched. And let's see what happens here. It could be a continuation, but it looks like we're finding a resistance around here. Okay, so again, you plan your trade and you trade your plan. I wish everyone an amazing week. Keep in mind again, the Monday is going to be a slow day due to holidays in the States. And enjoy the weekend, whatever is left out of it, and have a productive and a happy week. All the best, everybody.